Alright, I'm going to try this again. I did a vlog yesterday, week 5 from my car, and it ended up being... it actually wasn't too bad as far as clarity and stuff, but I found I really didn't get to the points very much. So let's deal with last week in skating. Since our last vlog, we had an adult test day on Thursday, where I had 11 adult tests, I believe. All 11 of them passed, most of them with way above average marks, lots of excellence and goods. The judge there was one of the toughest judges in the area. Now there is a little leeway, I feel, that they give to adults, because you can't expect the same kind of execution and physical execution from a 55, 65-year-old as you do from a 7-year-old. It's just not going to happen. So I think they alter their expectations accordingly, but still, I have had adult test pass and fail on adult test days, so it is possible. And we were all a little bit, what's the word? Picky. We didn't just throw in everything. We took out a couple tests that we felt maybe weren't quite ready, 4 or 5 tests, I think, so we did only end up putting in the ones that were great, or the ones that we felt were really strong. They all passed. So great, including a diamond dance test, which is in Nova Scotia. Whole years go by where nobody passes a diamond dance test, so it's a little bit more of an accomplishment to pass a diamond dance test. There are only about 3 coaches in Nova Scotia that even know the steps to the diamond dances, me being one of them. So it tends to be very rare. There are clubs that aren't even aware that the diamond dances exist because they're such... they used to only be for senior international competitive dancers, but about 10 years ago they opened them up to testing. They're quite difficult. If you get a chance, you should take a look at one occasionally. We actually, if you want to go on YouTube and look at what we passed the Ravensburger Waltz last week. Or she did. The other news from last week is that, not such good news. On a personal note, one of my cats died. My boy cat, Sonkai, who I got in Labrador, a Lynx Point Siamese cat. I had him for about 14 years, but he doesn't travel well, and my brother didn't have any pets at the time and was behaving lonely. So we timeshared him, and I have another cat, so I would leave Sonkai with Brian to keep him company when I was gone to Labrador occasionally. So we basically shared him part of the time. So I wasn't quite as attached to him as I could have been. He was a great cat, though. He was very quiet and well-behaved. He didn't really have a lot of bad habits. He destroyed furniture, which wasn't great. People who are very vain about the condition of their furniture. And he, in the last few years, he started peeing around the house when he was angry. Now, he ended up dying of cancer, kidney cancer. So I'm kind of wondering if that has been going on for a while and was a contributor to the peeing around the house. But anyway, so you never know quite how you're going to deal with the death of a pet. Just wanted people to know. Now, if my other cat dies, Kitsch, the one who's in all the videos, that's going to be a bit of an issue. I'm probably going to have to call a hiatus on work for a week. She's 20 years old, and we spend about 18 hours a day together, literally together, touching, cuddling. And since she's 20, that's going to happen at some point. But there should be no particular fallout with Sonkai's death. Maybe a minor distraction. This week, we're basically just trying to get tests ready. 3 of my kids in Bedford and 2 in Dartmouth are testing. 5 skaters testing. How many tests? They're kind of averaging 2 each. I think it's just under 2 each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think it's 9, 10. It's 10 tests. I said 8 in one of my emails. It's 10 tests. As far as I can tell, I think I sent an email out on this. They're all very solid tests. I was fairly picky about this. I'm looking for 100% pass rate. For context, most of the pass rates in this area are between 60 and 75%. I think we average about 70% lately. So if I'm getting 100%, that's good. It's above average. I don't see any issue with any of the tests, except a couple of the dances tend to go off time now and then. I have quite a few kids who, especially the new juniors, who don't quite understand how that you have to step with the beat every single time. You can't be off ever. If you're off regularly or by a large amount, you don't pass your test. So we're going to have to see on test day whether or not they can still focus on the music and focus on their timing and be on time the entire test or not. That's really the only worry I have. I also have a girl doing her 2 junior bronze dances who has already proven herself to go off time on test day. So there's going to be a little bit of an effort at trying to deal with that and prevent that from happening again. Beyond that, the tests are all very superior quality. So even if they go slightly off time, the judges are going to want to pass the tests because overall they're extremely good quality tests. So that's in our favor. I really don't anticipate anything too terrible happening on test day. That's a lot of tests for me to monitor while I'm on the ice partnering. I probably am going to be partnering about 5 other tests on test day, so I'm going to be a little bit for other coaches. So I'm going to be a little busy, and I'm not going to be able to handhold people through the test procedure, but it's fairly easy. Come into the rink an hour early, get your skates on a half hour early, blah, blah, blah. I'll go into all that later in an email and probably a blog. But we're going to be working for the next week with those 5 kids and trying to just make sure their tests are a little bit more solid, consistent, regularly performed, and see if I can stress them a bit to kind of reinforce their timing in their heads, timing under stress, timing under difficult circumstances. I'll make them do it with different types of music and alone and with me, etc., etc. Still trying to sort out spring. I have about 5 kids that are completely sorted out, have all their applications in. The real only, everything's pretty much sorted out except St. Margaret's Bay. And there's no rush for that because St. Margaret's Bay applications were due a month ago. So it's not like we're hitting any kind of deadline. Charlene has given me no impression that they're booked sessions. She's been very flexible with where I can put my kids. Dartmouth is not very flexible, so it's a little bit of an issue trying to skate there and move people around in a way that makes my schedule easier. Now, my kids don't qualify for any sessions in Halifax, but again, they were a little bit flexible and allowed my kids to register for the Tuesday BMO session. I think I had originally all 5 juniors in Bedford were interested in that session. And I kept trying to get confirmation and then forms in. And 2 of them ended up backing out and deciding they wanted to do other days instead, which is why I didn't reserve spots. So only the 2 that got their applications and are on the session, it has since booked up. This is one of the dangers of, it's very haphazard the way things are done here. I don't like that. So one of my kids, I think, wanted to be on that session, didn't get the application in, didn't get express confirmation from me that they wanted to be on this session. They expressed interest, but not, definitely we're going to be on that session, we're committed to it. Book us a spot, which is what was required. Now it has a waiting list now of about a half dozen people, including one of Becky's kids. Becky's the administrator of the session, and she couldn't even get one of her own kids on it. So things can happen very fast, and those applications really only came out, 10 days ago? So it filled up super fast. Spring is a little chaotic. You got to expect things like that from spring. Winter and summer are the 2 schools that are a little more stable and regular and predictable. fall and spring end up being kind of mishmashes of trying to go to different clubs, and it ends up being just a huge hassle. I'm super stressed about it. Thank God that St. Margaret's Bay and Halifax and Sackville, they're all fairly flexible on what they do. So if something doesn't quite work out, we can scooch people around and try to get a program that works for everyone. Anyway, spring might be a scramble for some people, and we might not get the ideal circumstances this year, mainly because my juniors don't qualify for a lot of the sessions. My Dartmouth people really only want to skate in Dartmouth and nowhere else, which is slightly inconvenient for me. Sorry, Dartmouth people. And my Bedford people don't want to drive all the way to Dartmouth, which is so now I have two groups of people that don't really have any desire to coexist with each other, which is a little bit of a problem for scheduling for me. Not that the two sessions conflict, they don't. It's just it ends up being twice as much organization work than it could be. I think I've rambled on enough about that. What else do I have to say? Something else happened this week. I guess that's it. Summer applications haven't come out yet. I'll make sure I put it in an email when they do. I'm still very partial to going to St. Margaret's Bay in summer. It looks like Halifax was trying to run a summer school, Halifax in conjunction with Bedford and Sackville, but it looks like they might not be able to get it going. It's not going yet, and they've lost a couple rinks of ice, I think. So the options may be St. Margaret's Bay and Dartmouth. Dartmouth is at Centennial and Halifax. I'm kind of okay with either, but I don't want to have a lot of scrambling trying to get between the two clubs, because there's often construction on the road, the highway between them, and it becomes, an hour and a half to get between the two rinks. So we'll see how that works out. I think that's it for this week. Bye.